senior back with Michael knows back when he did really the door stuff.
Until 8.
And even he doesn't do the key. He's not great knocks at the back door to get his help. That's really good. He doesn't trust him. He don't trust him.
So he gives him a key to the back door?
No, he's not in the back door.
So who's here to open it? How do you get it?
I have a coach.
Oh, so Doug has a key to everything.
Yeah.
It's kind of crazy. Okay, 1 minute.
Good morning, sir. I'm doing well. How are you?
Wow.
That mix was messed up. We didn't know.
It just got like a whole bunch later all of a sudden, then you fixed it. Why was that one?
Good morning. Good morning. How are you, sir?
Very good. Like that jacket.
Yeah. So y'all gonna get some new equipment, are you? Upgrade?
On this side, in particular, the video.
Okay.
It's been letting us down and it's been pushed too far.
Okay. Well, I'm glad that's gonna get taken care of.
Thank you, Brandon.
All right. See you. Good morning.
Good morning. No, I was just...
I was in the head passing out.
Service mode.
I need more. I got an extra. I swear I'll get back into this rotation. The week just spins by. It's like, no, it's Sunday. There's some technical issues that I'll have to get and then I think, boy, I have a whole week to fix it. And then it's like Friday. It's like high school. That test is tomorrow. I haven't been around now.
Well, I think she said yes.
Oh, yeah. It's my I went to Travis, but he's chewing at this point.
Oh, he's sitting on by that side?
Good morning. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of Atlanta. Today, we talk about the work of play. So we're going to be a little playful all day today. So glad you are here with us. So instead of singing as we gather, we usually sing a hymn here. We're going to play a game instead. This is a game I've been playing with choirs for, 15 years. And so I'm going to give you 4 beats, and you give me those 4 beats back. So, did you notice how you sped up? Right? That we went, because we get excited. Don't get excited, relax. Play is very serious play. So 4 beats after me. Excellent. Okay, right? That went pretty well. Okay, game 2. You will be 4 beats after me. You will be 4 beats after them. So look that way. Yep. Mhm. If you look at me, it's not going to go well. Okay. So you're looking over here. They'll follow me by 4 beats. You'll follow them. The first service, a lot of folks over here gave up. Don't give up. Right. Just go for it. You ready? You look like just the right amount of scared. It's right. It's good. It's good. It almost worked! Yes, how fantastic. We are so glad you are here with us this morning as we are in the spirit of play together. It is the best place to play in Atlanta, Georgia on a Sunday morning.
Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of Atlanta, a beloved community that is changing lives. I'm Tracey Gagne, and I'm so glad you're here this morning. Wherever you are from, whomever you love, you are welcome here. If this is your first time, or if you've not yet had a chance, please stop by our Welcome Center in the social hall after the service to allow us to get to know you a little better. You can also sign up to receive information about services and programs being presented over the next several weeks. After today's service, our religious education program is excited to present 2 offerings for adults. Starting at 12:30 p.m. in room number 1, just off the social hall, join the Inquirers group, where people gather to learn more about our faith community. This week's Inquirers class will feature a Q&A with our acting senior minister, Taryn Strauss, and board president, Christian Harden. Also at 12:30, right here in the sanctuary, our very own Dr. Steve Bell, Emeritus Professor of Psychology and 2-time president of Rodef Shalom Synagogue, will be offering a continuation of his series on Judaism and Jewish traditions, Yom Kippur, Rosh Hashanah. We hope you'll join us for one of these exciting offerings. UUCA is forming a movement choir. UU Moves is a new project to enhance our worship services. This group will interpret through body movements and gestures the lyrics of some of the music sung by our vocal choirs. Please see the announcement bulletin and reach out to Elizabeth Field for more details and information. This weekend marks the transition from summer to fall. Please join the pagan group at UUCA for a brief ritual in observation of the fall equinox this afternoon at 1:30 p.m. in the social hall. And now, please be sure to take this moment to put your cell phone in its most reverent position. Thank you. And once again, we're very glad you're here on this beautiful fall morning. Let's say the chalice lighting words together. May the light of this flame illuminate our tradition of seeking, invite all who yearn for acceptance, and ignite our passion for justice and peace.
We are so grateful to UUCA members who are also fabric artists. And the coming of the new season also brings a new cloth for our chalice table. So if you get a moment after the service to check it out, Julie Pierce created this beautiful chalice table for fall. So this is the time where we also greet each other with a handshake or a hug and welcome people into our sanctuary. But today, we're going to invite you into a more playful way to greet each other. And we're going to give you 4 options for how you could greet someone who's sitting near you. So Don is going to help me demonstrate those 4 options. One option will be the fist bump. High five. Low 10. And the Fonzie hey. Hey. So we'll do that one more time because playing is fun. Hey. You could do all 4. I don't know which one you're going to choose.
No
it's
wrong
a
answer.
mystery. There's no wrong answer. But will you please take this opportunity to turn to somebody you don't know very well and welcome them?
Oh, hey!
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 What are you listening to?
Huh?
What are you listening to?
Nothing?
There you are.
No, I'm listening to nothing. I just had a plug there, man. How's the Tennessee going?
Good. I played 5 hours. Wednesday I played 5 hours.
Wow.
Played in the morning and played in the evening.
That's well beyond what I want to do. I'm thinking about, I think there's a team out in Rockdale County I may join. There's 65 and up.
Bones, yeah.
I mean, yeah, 65 and up.
I know this rose will open. I know my fear will burn away. I know my soul will unfurl its wings. I know this rose will open.
The world's getting harder. Tension, anxiety, skepticism threaten to close in on us. Stuck in that place, we can cease to dream. At the precipice of autumn, a new season, a new ministry, a new global youth movement for the earth. Now is the time for dreaming.
Oh, this rose will open. I know my fear will burn away. I know my soul will unfurl its wings. I know this rose will open.
This sermon series we call Liberating Our Dreams began with honoring the grief of unrealized dreams. Then we moved through self-doubt and struggle with skill. And now comes the next step, understanding the work of play and how it takes us closer to dream liberation. There is a character trait I cultivate. It is central to my ministry and my life. Playfulness. Let's play.
We brought you our most playful songs.
This one's kind of a jokey update of the biblical story of Jonah and the whale. We picked Cleveland and Joan and a sturgeon instead of a whale.
Joan was working as a waitress in Cleveland, conservative, but she looked kinda hip. For a bakery girl, her hair was a bit too perfect. Folks said she sang just like Taylor Swift. One day I noticed a little cross under her apron as she spilled me a cup of coffee. She always wanted to be chosen just like anyone else. Said, let Jesus have his way with me. just to manifest abundance when she heard a voice with great reverb. Well, it was God.
He said these 2 words, Nashville, baby.
Cause what the people need is the word. He said, arise, daughter of Frank and Louise. She said, no, 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 I don't wanna go. And she rose up and she rose up and she rose up and she rose up to flee. There's a casino boat leaving out of Cedar Point. Incognito she was gonna ride. And if luck was with her, she would cross Lake Erie, make it to the Canada side. So she put on her makeup and she bleached out her hair and she ragged it up like Courtney Love. If what Jehovah was wanting was a superstar, he was gonna have to find her a son. Little did she know, little did she know,
She would turn out to be
on the lam from the Lord's like dodging child support. What you think, is life supposed to be free? Joan took off running in the other direction. So much pressure she was gonna break. God said, unleash the fishes and fetch up a storm. He sent a great wind out on the lake. The casino boat was rocking to the rhythm of the water like she wanted to capsize and go down. They all knew it was God and that Joan was the problem. So they picked her up and threw herself out.
right into the mouth.
Right into the mouth.
The biggest sturgeon ever seen.
Ever seen.
Where she thought and she prayed for 3 nights and 3 days until finally she and God could agree. 6 months later at the Grammy show, she was thanking Jesus on her knee. Well, she almost fainted when they called her name. Lucky are those who believe.
This morning's reading is a game. So, according to a Ming Dynasty writer, a game very much like rock, paper, scissors was played during the Chinese Han Dynasty more than 2,000 years ago. It was called Slug, Frog, Snake, or something like that at the time. But so, I thought we would play the world's oldest game, perhaps civilization's oldest game, today. So I want to invite you to a game of rock, paper, scissors with someone who is near you. So the reading is a game. It's not a reading. So rock, paper, scissors. So just to go over the rules, you have rock, and rock beats scissors. Okay? And then you have scissors, and scissors beats paper. And you have paper, and paper beats rock by covering it. And so we're going to do rock, paper, scissors, go. And that's when you show whether you're rock or paper or scissors. It's not rock, paper, go. You know what I'm saying? So it's rock, paper, scissors, go, right? So that's how it goes. I just want to say that can be a confusing part of the game. So we'll do best 2 out of 3 with your neighbor and see how it goes. If you have to make a group of 3, then play 1 time, and whoever loses that first game becomes the cheering section for the other 2 players. Got it? Let's play.
And now we will follow a fun game that has everyone riled up with meditation. Calm down, people. Touch the earth, reach the sky, walk on shores while spirits fly, over the ocean, over the land, our faith a quest to understand. Touch the earth, reach the sky. Children ask the reasons why. In our lives the answers show, and by our love they learn and grow. Touch the earth, reach the sky. All are born and all shall die. Life's the time left in between to follow a star, to build a dream.
Let us put hands upon hearts, feel the warm connection. Let love in this moment flow. Say to yourself silently, I will love myself. I will love others. That love will heal the world. Our hearts are with the children and youth who led the global climate strike for earth justice this past week. We send our love to people suffering from floods in Texas and everyone whose lives are impacted by climate change. We commit our lives to sustaining the interdependent web of existence. At this time, I invite you to say out loud the names of people you are holding in your heart this morning. Bring them into this holy space now. As humans have gathered for millennia, so we gather on this day to gently surrender to something beyond ourselves, to humbly acknowledge our mistakes, to ask forgiveness, to seek hope and renewal, to honor the earth that supports and sustains life, to remember that all beings are inextricably and mysteriously connected, and to feel that connection. Now we still our bodies, we still our minds. We take in a big breath. We exhale. We relax into this space that our intentions make sacred. We enter into the wise silence.
Touch the earth, reach the sky, hug the laughter, feel the cry. May we see where we can give, for this is what it means to live. Touch the earth, reach the sky, soar with courage ever high, spirits joining as we fly to touch the earth, to reach the sky.
If we are to liberate our dreams, then where shall we bring those dreams? You can bring them here. At UUCA, we work together to make dreams come true. This is a house of dreams and a community of dreamers. For people who dream of a place where they can explore meaning and faith and spirituality. For people who want to raise their children in community. For people who want a circle of supporters and deep friendships as they age. For people who want to sing their hearts out. For people who need to be loved, who love to share their ideas, their gifts, and their service. For people who ache for a community that knows them and cares about them. For people who dream about a world more just, more loving, and want to work together toward that dream. UUCA is here for all of those dreams and so many more unspoken dreams. So give some love back to this congregation that loves your dreams into being. This morning's offering will now be given and very gratefully received.
All right. Okay, we should introduce this song because it's all
feel
a
like
little
we have to introduce these
complicated
songs.
play. You never know. So we love a lot of country music, and we play country music, kind of Americana country music, and one of the things that we are very aware of and that kind of rubs us the wrong way, so we decided to write this song, is that there's a lot of unconscious white supremacy involved in country music, and a lot of it's okay to have songs that are like dumb fun, we're very serious people, but there's maybe a little too dumb fun going on. Too much whiskey and cigarettes.
And too much fossil fuels.
And too much fossil
So
fuels.
this song is really about taking down the fossil fuels industry and dismantling white supremacy.
We thought y'all might like it.
And that's how we play, so, If I started singing about buying smokes and drinking whiskey out on the porch, if I gave up griping about the government, about the pepper spray and the innocents, tell me would Rolling Stone call my number and ask me to post for next month's cover with the gigs that I'm playing, start paying the rent, start feeding my children, put the heat in the vents. Well, we're just smoking potpourri and we're drinking gasoline like we don't have a care and like the world was never me. Riding shotgun down the old plantation road, wind in my hair, just going with the flow. If I shelved reparations and family separations, if I just kept things light and sing about U.S. invasions, would you more likely know about me before I'm dead? If I could sing you a love song and put politics to bed, if I could sing less words and just go, ooh, and we're just smoking potpourri and we're drinking gasoline like we don't feel a thing and like the world was never mean. Riding shotgun with my toes up on the dash, pedal to the floor, Ronnie's hauling fast.
It's just like Alabama Dixieland Delight, if you remember that song.
Well, we're just smoking potpourri and we're drinking gasoline like we don't feel a thing and like the world was never me. Riding shotgun with my toes up on the dash, pedal to the floor, Ronnie's hauling fast. We're just smoking potpourri and we're drinking gasoline like we don't have a care and like the world was never me. Riding shotgun down that old plantation road, wind in my hair, just going with the
I hope you can see we're serious about play here. But this is a place that can speak playfully about serious things. That can be serious about playful things. We can transgress even those borders of ideas in our culture. We can hold all of who you are, your doubts, your complexities, the different ways you show up in the world, your anxieties, your fears, your sadness, your joy. Bring it all here. Blessings on this gift. May it go far and wide to bring more love to this community and this world.
And now, join me in the dedication of the offering, which is found in your order of service. To the work of this congregation, which is weaving a tapestry of love and action we call community, we dedicate our lives and these our offerings.
True story. When researching this sermon, my thoughts turned to this narrative poem, White Flower, written and narrated by my friend David Lamont. And they turned to this event because just last Saturday, the KKK held a white power rally in Dahlonega, Georgia. Now, 2007, when these Ku Klux Klans showed up in Knoxville, they came to play. They came to play. I mean, look at this. They used their play and drove the KKK out of town on that day. And I want to ask you, when was the last time you played? Because I am worried about the state of play. Yes, this is one of those sermons that begins with, back in my day, we used to walk to school in 10 feet of snow. Because in my day, on the sidewalks of Oak Park, Illinois, we used to walk to elementary school in many feet of snow. It's true. We were a gang of 7, my older sisters, my neighbors, and me. In the wintertime, we stopped along the way for snowball fights. In the fall, we jumped into leaf piles on the next to the sidewalks. In the spring, we smelled flowers, played hide and seek, and I Spy with my little eye on our way to school. 30 years later, in my neighborhood here in Decatur, I see kids walking to school too. And what do you think they are doing? Largely, they are walking alone, heads down, staring into a smartphone. Now, back then and now, we all got from point A to point B, but back then we got there playing all the way. Another memory of play. I remember as a child going to a restaurant with my siblings, waiting for our table or our food to come out. My eldest sister, Maria, is a master storyteller. My other sister, Condra, is a master observer. They would watch people, and they would create marvelous stories about them. All their relationships, guessing their relationships to one another, kind of like a judgy guessing game. Through their imaginative play and my listening ears, people became fascinating to me, strangers. And to this day, I still play this imagination game as I wait for a table at a restaurant. Now, we all still wait for tables, but instead of playing imagination games while we wait, what do? That's right, heads down, staring into a virtual world accessible on our smartphones. This is not a sermon against smartphones, although that might happen. Also, aside, this is a reminder about the importance of playing. I am worried about recess and how in DeKalb County schools, the minimum requirement for recess for pre-K students, that's 4-year-old students, is 15 minutes per day of free play. I am worried about neighborhoods and the lack of sidewalks and bikes and tag. I am worried about after-school music lessons and dance classes and pee-wee soccer practice and all the structure we enforce on our children to keep them busy, safe, skilled, occupied, out of trouble. And there is peer pressure, by the way, I can speak firsthand. There is peer pressure for parents to do this. The horror that my children are not in soccer is a surprise to me, that horror. But most of all, I am worried about us, right here, about how the average American spends 7.5 hours a day looking at screens, even more if they have to write a sermon. that Sunday. 7.5 hours looking at screens, be they phones, computers, televisions, or tablets, about how our leisure time has become so sedentary, looking at screens. I'm worried as the weight of the world sets in and our disillusionment with our administration, with our institutions, with our planet's future grows, and the furrow in our brow deepens. Well, we will all just become hopeless realists, and we cannot let that happen. Granted, some of those screen hours may be spent on Candy Crush, but I am talking about holy play, deep play, in real life. The prolific writer Diane Ackerman followed her seminal book, A Natural History of the Senses, with an exploration into the function of play in culture. She writes in her book titled Deep Play, for humans, play is a refuge from ordinary life, a sanctuary of the mind, where one is exempt from life's customs, methods, and decrees. Play always has a sacred space, some version of a playground in which it happens. Now, one way I knew this treehouse space could be our sacred space was a very early Wonderful Wednesday when I noticed Rob and Eva Mitchell, John Johnson, and some other folks playing board games and getting out a deck of cards, playing cards at the tables after Wonderful Wednesday. This'll do, I thought. We can play here. The world of play favors exuberance, license, abandon. Shenanigans are allowed. Strategies can be tried. Selves can be revised. In the self-enclosed world of play, there is no hunger. It is its own goal, which it reaches in a richly satisfying way. As Johann Huizinga notes in his classic text of game theory, Homo Ludens, play creates order, is order. Into an imperfect world and into the confusion of life, play brings temporary, limited perfection. Earlier in the first service, when we played rock, paper, scissors, two congregants who did not know each other exclaimed, wanted me to come over, and they exclaimed to me, "We just tied 4 times in a row." I mean, we're gonna both change our name to John. We are in sync. We need to work together. I mean, they just met each other. They didn't know each other. One of them was named John. That's why they wanted to both change their name to the same name. Anyway, above all, play requires freedom. Play's rules may be enforced, but it is not like life's other dramas. It happens outside of ordinary life, and it requires freedom. Now, in games and in digital media, game theorists write about a concept known as the magic circle. This is the space where the normal rules and reality of the outside world are suspended, and they are replaced by the artificial reality of the game world. This terminology is mostly related to online gaming worlds, but I am not going to speak much about online gaming worlds this morning, even though I did once lose an entire winter to a beautifully designed Nintendo Quest game called Okami. Have you ever heard of this? It's a beautiful, gorgeous game. It is based on a Shinto sun goddess. But even though I lost an entire winter to that game, when I speak of games here, it will be in the real world, not the virtual world. Because I believe that we create a magic circle when we play. And I look for the places where those lines between worlds can be blurry, where we can travel freely in and out of that magic circle. Huizinga identifies 5 essential characteristics of play. This is what makes play different from other ways of being. Play is free. It is, in fact, freedom. Play is not ordinary. It is separate from ordinary life. Play is distinct from ordinary life, both as to locality and duration. Again, the sacred playground. Play happens in a sacred place. Play creates order, is order. Play demands order, absolute and supreme. Play is connected with no material interest, and no profit can be gained from it. Now, if you are wondering about gambling, I would call that a game. And play is a little bit different from a game. So in play, the games change. In a game, the players change. So that's one difference between play and a game. And we're talking about play, and play is deeply central to my ministry. It is important to me. I take play very seriously. I wield it like a tool to unlock something that is stuck, to move us all through a plateau or to another plane of thought. But play is a muscle. It is one that requires your attention and your engagement, no matter your age. I had the opportunity, while studying worship arts at Union Theological Seminary in New York, to participate in an improvisation class at the Juilliard School. We observed the theater students at the school and the way they, in their improvisation, would create a magic circle. A world within a world with a new reality, with new rules and assumptions. And the more deeply they committed to that world, the better their performance. And the less they observed themselves, the more immersive their commitment became. So I would argue that play requires commitment. You know, I think Don noticed the moment when some of you lost your commitment at the rhythm game at the beginning of the worship. You know, play does require this commitment. Okay, let's keep going, let's keep trying. Even I found myself losing it. Improvisation is transformative play in the theater, which is the sacred playground. I raise this because my seminary was also in the news this past week for a very strange reason. The professor of worship arts, Dr. Claudio Carvalles, author of the book Liturgy in Post-Colonial Perspectives, led a worship in the chapel in which students confessed their environmental sins to plants that were arranged in the center of the sanctuary. Okay, they laughed in the first service too. Someone at Union Theological Seminary very proudly and perhaps naively tweeted this photo as an example of liturgical innovation, and Breitbart immediately pounced on the image. The right-wing fundamentalist news media is currently, right now, having a field day with this whole thing, which has now been christened Plantgate. So if you were to Google Plantgate, that's my seminary. I'm proud. First, there's the offense of worshiping creation rather than God's self, though obviously confession, I would argue, is not the same as worship. But you must admit there is an aspect of this image that looks absurd, and this whole idea. Do we expect plants to talk back? Now, this absurdity, it's no accident. Because to know Professor Carvalles is to understand the way he views liturgy as radically transgressive, fully belonging to the people. When leading worship, he dresses a little bit like Don did today. He dresses like a street performer, but one you might see in New Orleans, or a little bit like the Brazilian Willy Wonka. The first chapel I ever attended as a worshiper with him, Dr. Carvalles as a worship leader, was a Pentecost service. And I remember we were all first murmuring and whispering our praise of love, victory stories, and then suddenly we were louder, and then we were leaping and shouting and running in every language, our praise of love, our stories of victory. We were leaping over one another until just at his slight direction, until it became cacophony, and then it became suddenly rhythm, and then suddenly it became a joyful, loud dance out of nowhere. We were dancing, and the Spirit came alive in us. To experience this worship as a worshiper was divine. To observe this worship, I'm guessing we looked ridiculous. I mean, absurd. But isn't that true with all ritual? The flower communion, to somebody who does not understand it, may really scratch their heads and wonder, what are we doing? Isn't that true with play? To experience it is divine, is freeing. To observe it, absurd. The problem with this photo depicted and shared here, it's not the plants. It's the somber faces that were captured, probably because they were captured in the very moment when the students were facing the truth of human sin against nature, against creation. They were in that moment facing that truth. But I believe, knowing this worship space, knowing the worship leader, that the way to this moment was paved with whimsy, with a sense of playful freedom, though the moment captured was somber. I mean, how else would adults come to take this risk of talking to plants within a serious liturgical ritual? The risk comes from the playfulness that got them to this moment. Play is what makes the next world possible, a different world within our world. Play frees us from the chatter in our brain. The absence of mental noise when we are playing is exhilarating, it's soothing, and it's liberating all at once. Diane Ackerman writes, "The spirit of deep play is spontaneity, discovery, and being open to new challenges. It encourages growth. A new scheme, thrilling at first, rapidly can become ordinary or dull. I'm bored with this game. Craving more moments of deep play, we then set bigger challenges, develop new skills, take greater chances, canvas new worlds. And we are creating a new world right here within the world of Atlanta. I don't know how else to say it. And we will need everything we have. We will need all of our grit, all of our creativity, our time. We will need our passion. And we will need to be playful. This is how it will be. Without play, this dreaming process of who we are to become in Atlanta, well, it will only be drudgery, intensity, anxiety. There are so many ways to build a dream. I would like to suggest we get there playfully. But we will have to look for those moments for play. They are the stuck moments when we cannot think our way through it. When we find ourselves listing all the reasons why not, that's when it's time to get up and play. So when I think of the Ku Klux Klans in Knoxville, Tennessee, that May Day in 2007, I imagine all the meetings that led up to that moment of counter-protest, all the plotting, the planning. I imagine there were disagreements in those meetings of tactics. There was struggle. I imagine they were afraid. But the triumph of that moment was creating a magic circle that enfolded the Klan. They established a world within a world. They created new rules, and they made the Klan their players. This was righteous play. This was a magic circle where hate could not keep playing. Church, too, can be a sacred playground. I invite you to join me in play. I invite you to join each other in play. Look for opportunities for playfulness, for whimsy to get us where we need to go. Look for opportunities in your life for whimsy to get you where you need to go. We Unitarian Universalists can be a serious people. We really can. And the world we live in wants to take away our recess. They want to take away our holy playtime. But this is a place where we can still play. I am here because I want to play with you, setting bigger challenges, developing new skills, taking greater chances, and imagining new worlds. Without play, we cannot dream, and this is the time to liberate our dreams. So let's get to work and play.
Thank you for coming to recess this morning. Feels good. Just feels great. Our last hymn is number 311, Let It Be a Dance. It's kind of a schmaltzy bossa nova, but the words are great. Please rise in body or in spirit. Drew, I hit a shaker under your chair if you want to join. Can you get up the Heart Hunters right here? Drew and Bree, so great. Beautiful, awesome music making. All right, bring it, Travis. Times and the bad times too. Let it be a dance. Let the dancing song be heard. Play the music, say the words, and fill the sky with sailing birds. Let it be a dance. Let it be a dance. Let it be a dance. Learn to follow. The harvest, plant the seed. Let it be a dance. Let it be a dance we do. May I have this dance with you through the good times and the bad times too. Let it be a dance. Everybody turn and spin. There it goes. Let your body learn to bend, and like a willow with a wind. Let it be a dance, let it be a dance, let it be a dance. A child is born, the old must die. A time for joy, a time to cry. Take it as it passes by. Let it be a dance. Times and the bad times too. Let it be a dance. Let the sunshine, let it rain. Share the laughter, bear the pain. As round and round we go again. Let it be a dance.
Won't you please join hands for the benediction? The hands you are holding have a child from long ago or today who is really good at playing, who is really good at sharing and inviting someone into the game, into the dance. So let this work together, let this life together be a dance. Let us continually invite one another to play, to dream new worlds into being. This is the time for great imagining. Go be playful, go in love. Blessed be. Amen.